Greetings, teammates. Chris Anderson here with your July EMI Equipper. You know, as we enter July, the calendar year is now half over, and for many of you, so is your season. In fact, some of you have already had your A race, and if you haven't, it's coming soon. And so as we enter July, now is a great time to just stop and do a quick self-assessment. How are you doing when it comes to winning at what matters most? How are you doing when it comes to stewarding your time, your talent, your treasures, all the investments that you've made in endurance sports thus far? You know, Ephesians 5 tells us to be careful how we walk, not as the unwise or the foolish, but to pay careful attention to how we walk and to make the best use of our time, to understand what the Lord's will is and to do that. And so as you do this assessment, if you're doing well in these categories, then I'm here to say, great job. Keep up the good work, and to give you some encouragement to ask another teammate or someone else in your huddle to do the same. And if you're struggling, if you look at me and say, you know what, Chris, thus far my season, it's been all about me. Well, now is a great time to make a course correction so that at the end of the season you'll be able to look back and say, you know what, yeah, I did win at what matters most. And so as we move forward in this Equipper, I'm going to ask just 3 general, simple accountability questions. And these questions are meant to be an encouragement. And if you're struggling in some of these areas, I'm not trying to heap any discouragement on you or load you down, but I do want to be that gentle voice that reminds you about what's most important in an endurance community that'll tell you so many other things are more important. And so here we go. Question number 1. How are your daily quiet times? Are you spending daily time with the Lord in prayer, reading scriptures, other spiritual disciplines to stay closely connected to Him? Remember, if you want to accomplish anything of eternal significance, then the Holy Spirit's got to move through you. And that happens most often when you're walking with Him closely every single day. That's also when you're going to hear the Lord. You're going to know His will, and you're going to be able to do that as you go through the rest of your season. Question number 2. How are your most significant relationships doing right now? How's your relationship with your spouse? How are your relationships with your kids? What about your close friends, your church, your neighbors? Are you investing in these relationships, or are you sacrificing them all just for a few extra training hours or so you can race a little bit more? And if you're not sure how you're doing in this category, then ask your wife. Ask your kids, hey, how am I doing? And this is even more important if you're doing a long race, a marathon, an Ironman, the Leadville 100, right? That takes a ton of time. And if you're doing that on your own, if you're not doing that together as a family, someone is paying the price. Someone's sacrificing, and that might not be worth it when it comes to the end of the year. So how are your relationships doing? Are you investing in the relationships that are most important? Question number 3. Who are you actively discipling? Who are you investing in, inviting to grow closer to the Lord as you go through this season? Are you training alone, or are you training with others? When you train with others, are you talking about equipment and races, or are you sharing your life with them, sharing what God is doing in your life, asking them important questions, guiding spiritual discussions so that you're both growing closer to the Lord? It takes a lot of time to train. Don't waste those hours. And so there you go. 3 simple accountability questions as you do a quick self-assessment. And my hope is that by answering those questions, you're going to get refocused on what matters most. You're going to get to the end of this season, and you're going to look back, and you're not going to have just a pile of awards or t-shirts or some kind of accomplishment that no one's going to remember in a few years anyway. But you're going to look back, and you're going to know that you won at what matters most. That you and I are going to look back and say, you know what? This season really mattered. It made a difference. And so there you go. As you finish out your season, finish strong. Win at what matters most, and God bless you as you go do that.
All the Christian soldiers marching down